So yeah, I guess when people have their NDEs and they remember the experience, mine was completely blocked out, and it didn't come to me for like 15 years. So, and then from that, then I've jumped down, found the truth, I guess. It's just everything was complete clarity, I just knew. My name is Taleeza, and at the age of 20, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Along with this, I was also diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and major depression. This all stems from childhood experiences, moments of childhood sexual abuse as a child under the age of 5, which I didn't have any memory of, but I know my body, it held in my body. As a child, I was full of fear, terrified of the night. I would lay in bed, covered in my blanket, breathing in the warm air, and sweating until my bed was wet. And when I finally would drift off to sleep, I'd wake up from a nightmare and I'd be frozen. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. And I would sit with the adrenaline pumping through my body. When it finally stopped, I would run to my mum and I would hug her so tight. And this continued for years. It led me to be a very angry child, a very terrified child. And I would take it out on the people I loved the most. I continued on growing up. During my teenage years, this is when depression kicked in, when I started feeling incredibly worthless and not good enough, not loved. I never once felt loved in my life. And it wasn't that I wasn't loved by my family, but I didn't love myself. Sorry. Ooh, okay. I still lived a pretty normal life. I had friends and family and went to school and had a job. And one day when I was at my job, I was there maybe 10 minutes and a man came in and held a gun to the roof. And he shot that gun in the roof multiple times. And in that moment, I left my body. I actually don't have any memory of this, but I know in that moment that I went somewhere. The next thing I remember is all the customers gone from the store. And as I look down on the ground, all my fellow workers were also all on the ground, huddled up together. I went down there with them. And in that moment, it was truly terrifying. The moment that you think that you're going to die. Even though I'd spent all my life wanting to go. But here I am in the situation and I decided, no, that's not what I wanted at all. After a while, the gunman continued to shoot in the air, break things, smash things. It was extremely loud. And eventually, we were able to be taken out and leave safely. And we survived. After moving on from all of this, I felt like I spiraled from everything kind of working out to an impending doom. I hurt myself. I took drugs. I drank alcohol. I partied. I did everything I could to numb the pain of all the fears from my childhood. that just kind of exploded from this incident, which comes to me finally asking for help, going to the doctors, being diagnosed, being medicated. And from that, I was truly numbed, because the medication made me, or turned me into a person that I didn't even know. Someone that didn't have a spark, that wasn't really sad or angry or happy. It just was like a zombie. And the years continued on, as they do. And I was really trying to find myself, and I'll do everything in my power to do things outside of myself to fix myself. I no longer took drugs or alcohol or did any of those things, but I changed it to, well, I needed to change my diet, and I needed to go to the gym, and I needed to do all these things to fix me, to make me better. And none of it worked. It would last about 3 or 4 months and it would all come crashing down and I'd give up. And I decided one day I was done with that. And for the first time ever, I was going to stop and do nothing. And I know nothing may seem like nothing, but it was everything. For the first time, I stopped looking outside of myself and I looked within myself. And one day I was just walking through my house and I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. And it hit me. I was embodied with a love that is indescribable with words. I understood for the first time how much my mother loved me. She held me and she loved me. And I had so many family members that loved me. I had so many people that loved me. I was exploding with this love, this energy, this clarity, this purpose, this knowing, this undescribable knowing that I was connected to everything. It wasn't just me, it was everybody. It was the trees and the plants and the ground and the butterflies. It was everything. And it completely changed who I was. It felt like a part of me had died and I'd let it go, and this new part of me emerged. This part of me that was so clear, was everything I couldn't see before and I could see now. During this time, something incredible happened. Something I wasn't expecting. Almost like a life review, where moments in time from my past re-emerged, one at a time. Small things, big things. Times I hurt other people, times they hurt me. But there's one in particular that stood out the most. And if we go back to being abused as a very young girl, this was hard for even me to understand. But I loved this person. I loved them so deeply. And we talk about forgiveness. And what that means to me is a complete acceptance and understanding that I understood in that moment that that person had fallen from love. They weren't holding it in their heart anymore. And this happened. And all I could do was love him. And know that I could also forgive myself for all the shame and the hurt that I'd carried for all these years. And in that moment, an image popped up in my mind. And it was me. I was a little girl, blonde hair, big brown eyes. And I picked her up and I put her in my arms. And I said, thank you. Thank you for being so incredibly brave. You are loved. You are so, so deeply loved. And I want to thank you for all that you've done and let you know that you can go now. And I put her down and she left. I forgave it all. And just like that, it dissolved like it was nothing at all. Like I'd just completely rewritten the past. There was an energy that surrounded me, and it stayed with me for weeks and weeks. It was blissful. It was like ecstasy. I loved walking around the world like this. And in that time, I was presented with something amazing. I was presented with the truth. I could feel it in my heart. I could feel it in my soul. It was undeniable. And it was the words spoken by Darius. And I knew in that moment, that was it. After one of the controlled out-of-body states that I experienced, I came back with this clarity and this memory of back when I was in the experience with the gunman and when I left my body. The memories were no longer blank. They had returned. And where I went was somewhere extremely beautiful. And as I stepped in with all these beings that surrounded me, in this immense love and energy field, I lifted up. And there were these two beautiful golden rings just orbing around me, and I could feel the energy pulsating through my body. And it was almost like information just streamed through me. That I had been at this event for a reason. And the reason was to love this man in the moment, this gunman, to love him, to surround him with love, to let him know everything's okay, to hold him in a space where he wouldn't do the things he was going to do. The knowing I have about that day is that this man planned to hurt a lot of people and to hurt himself. And that's the way the story was meant to play out. And I left at the perfect time. I returned at the perfect time. And I have a hard time understanding this. But I believe I was there to help everyone that was involved. Not just my work colleagues, but especially this man. Because this man had also fallen far from love. And he'd forgotten. And he needed to remember that he was deeply loved also, and that he didn't need to do these things. He could continue on his life, and that everything would be okay. Sorry. My takeaway from this whole experience that you would call life, that I would call my life, is that we all need to really stop looking out and start looking in, because there's nothing out there that you're going to find. What you're searching for has always been within you. I've realised for myself that I don't need to live in fear anymore. Not fear of someone hurting me, not fear of dying. I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid of people hurting me. I'm going to own my own power and know that I am so immensely loved. My life now has taken a massive turn. I would no longer say that I struggle with any mental illness. I do not have post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm not depressed. It no longer affects me at all. But I know there's people out there that this does affect. And I know how much you're hurting because I've walked in your shoes. I know I'm not a medical practitioner of any kind, but there's something really special when you find yourself. And if there's anything that you would want to take away from this, it is that choose yourself, and that if you're willing to put in the dedication, the commitment to yourself, there is a way for you to find yourself. And you will no longer have to be in any pain. You'll no longer have to suffer. Not with the ups and the downs and the roller coaster of your emotions that you feel like you have absolutely no control of. You can have control. Actually, no, sorry. Control is not the right word. I don't want to say control. You can have clarity on who you really are. And you can let go of all the fear and suffering. There is a love that is unexplainable. And if you go within, you're going to find it. You're going to find it with everyone you love and care about. After all the experiences that I've had in my life, mental illness was one that has stuck with me for a really, really long time. I was led to believe that I was not okay, that I was broken, that I wouldn't fit into the world, that there was something really wrong with me, and that maybe I'd never come out of it. There's one thing that the outer body state has provided to me, and that is that I was never broken. That I have all the capabilities in the world to move past this. And I know there's other people out there that are in pain, that are suffering, and I understand you because I have walked in your shoes. There's not one single person out there that can tell you who you are. Only you can do that for yourself. And it is 100% achievable. And I want to sit here and tell you that because For the longest time, I thought I would be stuck like this forever. That was my life, one of absolute fear and suffering and pain. And now I feel loved, and I feel happy, and I feel joyful, and I live my life with the people around me, and I see them shine just as much as I'm shining. And it truly does affect other people. The way you live does affect other people. And we can all come to a place that we're filled with this love and joy. And we can all experience that. Because at the end of the day, we are all connected. And this is the way life is supposed to be. Yes, I might find that out of my body. Lots of people have found that out of body. They've felt the love and the bliss and the knowing. But we have every possibility here and now to bring it within us and experience it in everyday life. And that is our purpose. Our purpose has always been love. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. The reason that I came here was to experience this pain and suffering of duality. I know I completely planned this, and I know that's difficult for a lot of people to hear, to say that I chose this. But I did choose this, and there's a reason for it. If I never experienced those things, if I never had the duality in life, if I never had the light and the dark, how would I ever see anything else? I experienced that, so then I knew what the opposite was. And the opposite wasn't fear, it was just love. And it was freedom. And it was truth. And when you find those things, you feel home.